like to talk a little bit about the Jewish roots of our Christian faith. Particularly would like to look at the 7 feasts of God that is recorded for us in Leviticus chapter 23. And so in Leviticus chapter 23, we have a record of 7 feasts of the Lord. And these were broken down into 2 different seasons. There were 4 feasts that were commemorated or observed in the springtime. These were called the spring feasts. And then there were 3 of these feasts which were observed in the fall season. These were referred to as the fall feasts. Now these were observed by the nation of Israel. Moses was the one that gave them these 7 feasts as instructed by God for them to observe annually. And these feasts in chronologic order were the Feast of Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of First Fruits, the Feast of Weeks, also referred to as the Feast of Pentecost, and these were the 4 spring feasts. Then there were the fall feast. These were the Feast of Trumpets, which is currently referred to as the Feast of Rosh Hashanah by the Jewish people. There was also the Feast or the Day of Atonement, which the Jewish people refer to as Yom Kippur. And there was the fall feast, which is the Feast of Tabernacle, or the Feast of Booths. The Jewish people today refer to that as the Feast of Sukkot. So these were the 7 feasts that were given to the nation of Israel to observe annually. And so I would, in this particular presentation, just reference that these feasts all pointed to the Lord Jesus Christ. In fact, I would say that Jesus fulfilled 4 of these feasts on his first coming. And so on his second coming, we would expect that the other 3 feasts will also be fulfilled by the Lord Jesus Christ. I will pick up this presentation in a subsequent video to tell us more about these 7 feasts, because these are not simply the feast of Israel. These are actually considered the feast of the Lord, and these were commemorated by the Jewish people or by the Israelites, but they were pointing to the person of the Lord Jesus Christ, and so they find their fulfillment in him. And as I said, he has already fulfilled 4 of these feasts, and 3 are left to be fulfilled by him at his second coming. So on the next presentation, we'll talk a little bit more about these feasts, and you'll see how they were fulfilled by Jesus, how we expect that the remaining feasts will be fulfilled by him, and we'll also see how these feasts is not only relevant to the Jewish people, but they also have relevance to Christians and to the entire world at large.